Brother to Brother Sports. Thank you for tuning in. JustG, CT, Pittsburgh, Trav. Check us out. YouTube, Spotify, coming soon to Apple Music, and iHeartRadio. Brothers and Brothers Sports. Let me introduce the brothers. First up, we got CT.
What's up? This CT representing the 5312. What's up? Wakanda forever, baby.
CT in the house.
Yeah, all right. Woo. Yes.
And we got Pittsburgh Trav.
What's up? What's up? Representing the 412-660.
All right, welcome to Brothers to Brothers Sports. I am Garlen, a.k.a. JustG. What's up, brothers? How y'all doing?
Good.
Hey,
What's
man,
up,
we doing
man?
good.
Good, man.
Doing good, bro.
Sunday. Man, should be on the course, but we not. We right here with you guys. Thanks everybody for subscribing on YouTube. Everybody who liked and subscribed. Feel free to comment. Give us some stuff to add to the mix. Stuff you want us to talk about. A lot of big things coming through in the new year, 2025, and the summer coming up. Topic today, we're going to jump into March Madness. Now, my bracket's been busted, but I'm sure some other ones got busted yesterday, boy, because, come on, fellas.
Duke,
What happened to Duke?
Duke let me down. Hey, they was in control for the entire game. And I was like, this is a foregone conclusion. And bam, came back and lost the game in the final couple of minutes. And I'm on the phone with Pittsburgh Trav, and he calling it as he sees it. He's like, they ain't lose. They get it, and they lost.
Well, I picked Duke at first, too. And then that was a shock. But if you look at what they did, Houston did to Kansas, it was a buzzer beater like that. And then they pulled it off at the end now. So, I mean, can't sleep on Houston.
Man, we was texting. I turned it off, man. Duke was scraping them, man. They was up by I think 12 at least. And I was like, this mug's over, man.
Hey, JustG, man, it's arguable. I think the Duke was the better team. They were more talented. They probably benefited from the transfer portal and NIL and all that kind of stuff. But the other team just rose to the occasion, bro, and beat them.
But let's talk about that, too, though. I think college getting kind of crazy with that. You know what I mean? When you can build your own team midway through just to get to, the championship games or Final Four. Back in the days when you played in a college, you finish your college career at that school.
Yeah.
Now with paying players and doing all of that, I mean, it's just, to me, it taints the game a little bit.
There's no loyalty.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing too, once they get to the NBA, unless they're getting traded and it's uncontrolled, they can't just say, "I'm going to transfer to that team."
Yeah.
Even though
What
the
about
NBA
Cooper?
is kind of doing it.
What about Cooper Flag, man? Is he the next great white hope or what, man? Can the boy ball or what?
Hey, I think he's good, man. I mean, I don't know if let's face it, if you were to compare today's player to yesteryear's player and when you had to earn your keep in college and play against top talent, now the talent is there, it's transferring out. So it's hard to say that, let's say, the quote-unquote great white hope is the equivalent to the Larry Birds of the world or maybe even the Rex Chapmans of the world. You know what I mean? It's probably more like Rex Chapman than it is Larry Bird.
He's not as consistent as those players were, but what I will give him, some of those N1s he got with the fouls and stuff, and with today's game, the touch fouls and stuff, I think he can go pretty far. Because
I like
one
he's
thing
a
is he's
two-way
good on the
player.
free throw.
He plays defense. He rebounds. He's good with the ball. Nice assist ratio. Plays kind of unselfish. You can tell he's groomed and ready. I don't know about losing, giving up your whole season for him, but the thought of him being with Wemby down in San Antonio, woo boy, man, that's gonna be something to see.
Hey, G, Man, I think that the game changes when you play against top talent. If you're playing against guys like me and Trav, who just barely made the NCAA, and all of a sudden I think that your game's going to look better. But when you're playing against top talent and have to execute against real athletes day in and day out, you find that those players that transition into the NBA just really at a young age, just they're not game breakers. The only one I actually could see in this era is probably maybe Caitlin Clark. Uh, I can't recall of an NBA player that transitioned and just broke the game nowadays
Yeah.
from
Well,
college.
to add to your point, right?
Yeah.
So let's look at Duke way back in the day with Grant
Mhm.
Hill and that power team, right? How many of those guys became Hall of Famers after their career in college? There's only what, two from that team? The
Yeah,
only
but Grant
team
Hill was good. I just don't understand what happened to Christian Leitner.
Yeah.
that's what I'm
He was just
saying.
good
Yeah.
enough, you know.
But that's what I'm saying. In college, he was phenomenal, man. Then he
Right.
got to the pros and he became an average player. You know what I mean?
I mean,
So
who do y'all think was a better pro, Christian Leitner or Chris Webber?
Weber for
Whatever. Yeah.
sure.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But in
But
college,
you know what I don't understand? How did Lakener get onto the dream team
Yeah.
over some of the players that were there? Like Grant Hill? You're gonna
because of
pick
that
him over
haircut.
Grant Hill? Man, that's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Well,
Yeah.
Grant was he was kind of gimpy. He started getting hurt that senior year and throughout his first years in the
But
pros.
he was the captain of the team.
Man, that was
You
tough,
don't pick
man.
you're gonna pass up on the captain? And he had a
Yeah.
better NBA career than all of them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
because
It's
I
funny,
thought
man.
Jalen Rose would be a better pro too, but it just some of those guys were just. I mean, I liken Leitner to Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow was
Yeah.
arguably one of the best college players in history, but he couldn't play in the pros.
No, no, he couldn't because he didn't play in the right offenses. But let me say this: uh, the modern day NBA and the modern day college is kind of like maybe even back when Houston's is it five Flamma Jamma?
Five Slamma Jamma.
Yeah.
Flamma Jamma, right?
Yeah,
They were
with
able
Clyde
to
Drexler.
combine a huge amount of talent on one team. Now, in the college have just operationalized that. They've allowed transfer portal and NIL to congregate players that are high talented on one team because they're in a big market. And prior to that, it probably was some corruption, right, involved in
Oh yeah,
getting
for sure.
players to like Slamma Jamma and all these other top players. Top
The
teams.
one that
I
the
just don't like
one
it.
the
Yeah.
team that brings me to mind when it got out of hand was that UNLV team, man. When you
Oh
got
yeah.
like 8 all
Running
stars,
Rebels. Yeah.
and
Yeah,
even
but
if
let me
you
tell
go
you
to the
something though,
Fab
man.
Five, how do you gonna
Let me
get how you gonna get four of the best freshmen in the country on the same team?
Yeah. Yeah.
let me tell you something though. Let me
Hookers,
tell you something though.
money, and blow.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me tell you though. All those guys could have probably left. Half of those guys could have probably left high school to pros if there wasn't restrictions at the time. You know, when players were forced to go to college and
Yeah.
not leave from high school to the pros, because I mean, Weber was what he was already
Yeah.
6'7", 6'8". I mean, he was
Well, that's
already
a
a
debate for
great thing.
another day. But now they're trying to compare it with NIL. You can technically make more money than the G League
Yeah.
unless you got a two-way contract. And what's going to give you more experience? The G League playing with against semi-pro or playing against 2 3 year the best, supposedly the best in the country.
Hey, I'm gonna say this too, and we can switch the topics after this. But those players that are talented that are high school going into college that end up going into pros, they're just not good quality. I think that having to go through the crucible of college makes them a better pro. And yeah, it could mean that they never play, they get injured or something like that. But the quality of the game is a lot better having to go through your trials
Yeah,
or
but LeBron
tribulations
was a
than the,
unicorn.
huh?
Kobe Bryant, LeBron. I mean, there's arguments to say differently because those two are arguably some of the greatest players who ever played the game, and they went
Yeah,
Yeah,
straight
no
from high
cap,
I,
school
no
I
to
don't
into the
cap.
like.
pros.
Hey, I don't like making arguments about the exceptions, but the rules are not the Kobe Bryants and the LeBrons. The rules are the other players who come in and wash out that you don't ever hear, like
Yeah,
the ninety
because the
percent of those
teams that
people.
draft lots of them, Jimmer Fredette, Stalkins, these
Yeah,
guys. Jimmer averaged like 35 points a game in college,
yeah.
and he was straight trash when he played for the Kings.
Who was the
He wasn't
guy?
even good enough to be the water
Scott
boy.
AG. Who
Yeah.
was the guy that Washington drafted out of high school? That when Jordan went to their GM,
Is that
he
Kwame
was
Brown?
Kwame Brown. That's the
Yeah.
rule. That's the rule. He
Jordan's like, man, what are you doing on my team?
exactly.
Yeah.
No polish, can't hit the mid range, can't hit the. He's how all potential, no polish, and
He was just
you get
And he
bigger than
pretty much
refined.
forced him
everybody
out of
in
the league.
college. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
bigger than everybody. Hey, before we jump out of this segment,
yeah.
uh, no, who y'all got in the championship game for the final four, final two?
Houston. Houston. Man,
Houston.
how can you not, man? I mean, they upset dude. You know what I mean? I don't think the Gators are going to be strong enough to get
I
past
like
them,
the Gators.
man.
I'm picking
I
for
like them
Florida.
too.
I'm kind of selfish because
Um,
Missouri beat Florida, so I want Florida to win. So Missouri can say
What I'm
they
getting at
beat
is
the
I
champ.
think it's going to be just like we seen with Duke.
right.
It's going to be a last second. Nobody's going to expect it. They might be trilling, but they got heart, man. They got heart. It's sort of like the
Well,
Chiefs this
one thing,
year.
both of these teams play defense, and you're gonna have to
What's
bring it.
It's like the Chiefs this year. There were 6 games that we could have argued they lost, but their heart kept them in those, which got them to the Super Bowl. I
But
see the
I
same
mean,
Hey,
similarities
they
with
hey,
did a
Gene,
good
Houston,
job
man.
with these teams.
hey,
Both of these teams are good.
I'm going to end
Yeah,
the
but what I'm
debate.
saying is that
Look,
Houston,
I'm
man, they
throwing
tough.
my gavel down right now. It's going to be Florida.
I
End of
like Florida.
discussion. End
I'm
of
sticking with
discussion.
Houston. We'll revisit all of this, but I'm going to say Houston, man.
I like that rep.
I see that grit all year. You know what I'm
They
saying?
got grit.
They beat teams.
Florida got the it factor, and they got the Michael Jackson factor, the thing that you can't reproduce, the star
How can we
factor, and
not
I
say that
think they
about
got it.
Houston? How can
Uh,
Did they not show determination? Did they not show heart last night, man?
I'm just saying
Look what they did.
yep.
I don't
Somebody
know,
shut
man.
those
The way
dogs up,
Florida
man.
scraped up UConn, man. It's gonna be
Mm-mm.
something.
It's
Good
gonna be a
game.
great game.
Watch party. Watch party. All right, next. What we doing?
All right, let's get into the next topic. Next topic, we're gonna talk about NFL, man. We got some quarterbacks out there. Got teams in limbo. We got Aaron Rodgers. We got let's see, we got Kirk Cousins is in the mix. That trade me, brother, trade me. And then what's your thoughts on Shedeur? Let's get in. Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. What's the right fit? What's the right place for him? Should and the
Yep.
Browns draft quarterbacks or should they take a chance on these guys?
Let me and Travis, I'm gonna start off before if you can just beat your dogs up if that's your dogs. But let me just say
I
this:
know.
it troubled me that Pittsburgh, Aaron visited Pittsburgh, and he must have not liked what he had to hear, right? Because he didn't sign. Because to me, he is a better fit at Pittsburgh than he would be at Minnesota, right?
Let me just say this. Here's what I honestly feel. I don't think he wants to go through the rigors of training camp. I don't think he wants to do a lot of that other stuff. The fact that he was warming up with DK Metcalf and
Wow.
George Pickens right there is tells me that it's sort of like what's his name that held out that 1 year. He didn't want to go through all of the rigors of camps. He wanted to hold out to halfway through training camp. They said he had to report to 3 or 4 of them, and then he signs the contract towards the end of camp.
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers did that
Who was
in
that?
New York with the Jets, and look what happened with that. He got to get into camp, man. He got to get
But
used to
here's
these
the,
wide
the
receivers.
difference between that though. The difference is he wasn't playing. He wasn't practicing with the team. He didn't do nothing with the team. He just automatically, decided I'm going to hold off, and then when it comes time to get into the camp, and it cost him with
Right.
injuries. But you got to think about this: he's 40 years old, who doesn't want to go through what 3 or 4 months worth of being not hit, but all of the rigors of training camp when he already knows what his abilities are. So I look at older players like that who kind of bail on those kind of things.
Yeah.
But he's showing his determination because he's going and he's doing it right now. He's doing workouts. but he's doing it with the
But
Steelers
let me just
players.
say this: that's not the reason why he's not intending to sign with Pittsburgh. It's not because he doesn't want to go through the rigors of training camp. Because every quarterback worth their salt is going to want to work on timing and all that kind of stuff with their
He's
receivers.
doing it now.
So
He's
it
doing it
without
right now.
let me say, as a Green Bay Packer fan, I know Aaron. I know I've watched him for years, and one of his biggest complaints is players understanding where they need to be in their route tree. Like if the play calls for a 10-yard out or a real route or something like that, he wants you to be there so he can trust that if he throws that ball off schedule or whatever, you'll be there at the time he wants you to be there. So timing and rhythm and all that stuff is important to him. So it speaks to something else to that because I think he would be in camp and would go through a full camp, even though he's an
Let me
older
ask you a
player.
question then.
So
Let
just
me ask you
knowing
a
him as a
question.
Green Bay Packer fan.
Let me ask you a question then. Why on his own dime do you fly out George Pickens to California and DK Metcalf on your dollar?
Because he wants to get the timing and rhythm right. And he's
But
invested in
why
being.
why go through all of that if you have no intentions on signing with the team?
Well, I didn't say he had intentions. What I said was it was problematic that he walked away without signing when they brought them in. I think he would rather kind of be a thorn in the side of his former team, Green Bay, and go to Minnesota, kind of like
I
Brett
think
Favre
so
did.
too.
But in my view, Pittsburgh is the best the best situation for him. They just signed Metcalf. They have Pickens. They have a defense, and if he's wanting to win now, and he's a win now player, because let's face it, he's not getting any younger. He would do that at Pittsburgh, not at Minnesota.
Yeah,
But
because
What
I
even
about
though in
Jeffries though?
Minnesota,
I
yeah,
Jeffries is a bad boy.
I think if Minnesota said, hey, Aaron, check this out. We'll give you 35 million. We'll
mhm,
give you 8 games to do your thing. If you
right,
haven't figured it out in 8 games, then we're gonna move on to
yeah,
McCarthy. But
yeah.
I think he would. I think he wants to play against his old team. He wants to play in the
Yeah.
North.
And, McCarthy is probably not ready for prime time yet, but he's the guy, he's the understudy waiting. And I don't think Rodgers wants to deal with that kind of bullshit. He
Yeah.
wants to be the guy. And that's why I think that Pittsburgh is a better fit because they don't have an understudy. They don't
Yeah.
have a guy
Yeah,
waiting
because
in the wings.
Mason Rudolph is not going to start any game for Pittsburgh.
Right. Right.
I mean,
And,
they're
you
either going to
know,
go through the draft and trade up
right.
or trade some futures for a
Right.
quarterback because that's their need now. They
So,
secured a
you know,
running back game.
it has to be some Scott like what is it a cultural thing? Is it the offense? Is it like Aaron wants more control to be able to run his own thing, that kind of thing? Because when he was in Green Bay and he was even with LaFleur and under McCarthy, he has some license to go off schedule, and I think he wants that type of control to be
I
able
don't
to
think
do that.
that's the case because if you listen to everyone's complaint about Ben Roethlisberger,
Yeah,
you're talking about Antonio Brown. We're talking about Mendenhall.
yeah,
You know what I mean? All these guys that played with Ben, they said that because he had so much say over how the offense was going to be ran, that
yeah,
they hated that. Like he didn't listen to. And if you look at on the sidelines when they had the Chiefs' former head coach that's from Pittsburgh, I'm trying to think of his name right now. He had problems everywhere he went. Our offensive coordinator, they would fight constantly on the sideline because he never called the plays that was called into him.
yeah,
And one time they said there was an
Did you ask
instance.
Haley?
Yeah, Haley. It was Haley. So
Yeah.
Haley had an instance with Ben Roethlisberger where he cut the mic off on Ben.
yeah,
I remember when
He wouldn't call in plays to Ben or nothing. So Ben
Haley
called the whole
benched
thing.
he benched Matt Castle in the playoff game. In the playoff game,
Yeah,
and Matt Castle went back in the game and he wouldn't even talk to him the rest of the game.
yeah,
They wouldn't even
yeah,
give him the plays. They shut his mic off where he couldn't even hear. That's
yeah,
how, man,
yeah.
that dude's crazy.
hmm
And
yeah, and
you
that's what
know
I'm
what?
saying. So
I can see that in a way that okay, they call a run because they're trying to set up something later down the road, that kind of thing, and you go off schedule. But if you sign Rodgers, you're signing him for a specific thing. He can deliver a ball. He can read a defense. He can get you to jump out. He can do all those things. That's his strength. If you just make him some system quarterback, there's no point in bringing him in. You want
Well,
to
see,
bring
that's
him
my
in.
thing about the
But look
Steelers.
at the direction
You
Pittsburgh
want to
went
bring him
on
in and
both.
make plays. You want to bring him in and make the throws that he can make and make the reads that he can make. So you got to give him some license. And if the coaching staff and the front office don't want to do that, I can understand why he walks away from that and doesn't sign something. Because
But it
really,
doesn't make sense
to
But this
be
is my
honest
because
with you,
problem
look
that's
at
the
the
best. That's the
direction.
best place for him.
with Aaron
Look at the
Rodgers and the
direction of the
Steelers
two
is
quarterbacks.
that Arthur Smith he wants to run the ball. So if
Yeah.
Arthur Smith wants to run the ball, how does Aaron Rodgers fit into that?
I would agree with you more on that end than I would on the other argument because of one thing for me, I see one
And to
thing
me, at
that could
Aaron
be
Rodgers' age
problematic.
and at this point in his career, he should be fine with run on first down, run on second down. He should be fine with that.
Well, I mean, yeah, he would
He
be
wants to
fine with
control the
that
tempo though.
and taking advantage of the play action if he was still mobile, right? If he can still get out of the pocket and if you do off something where you do a play action and hand off to the run and you keep it and he can still run, but he's not that player anymore, right?
Yeah.
But we
He's
have a
more of a
better line
pocket
than
passer.
the Jets. We can actually hold a block long enough for him to get those reads off.
Hmm.
I mean, think about who we had. Wilson. He's not the scrambling guy he used to
Well,
be. In fact, he was more of a pocket passer for
Well, I don't think
Pittsburgh.
Aaron's gonna be moving too much anymore after that injury. So
yeah,
Well, I mean,
he's
but
got an
Wilson
Achilles.
didn't either.
Yeah, he's got an
So
Achilles.
we have to.
He's got some knee injuries and stuff like that. And even prior to that, he wasn't the most nimble guy. But when he was at his top, he can get outside the pocket and make yards after he can do a thing. And now
Don't
I
have to
think
do that now.
defenses can key on the play action. They know he's not going to be a threat to run. And so that's the problem. He needs to be in an
No, we
offense
don't have
where
that problem. So hear me out. Jalen Warren is a good receiving slash running back out of the field, and he blocks hella good. San Diego just traded Najee Harris for their second year running back, the dude number 30 that was tearing people up last year. So I don't see where they see the value in Najee Harris because I thought San Diego had a better running game than we did under Najee, but they see something that I don't see.
well, I think that's
But they
that's
traded
that's
him.
Harbaugh. He wants to run the ball even more than Arthur Smith. So
Yeah, but they had a great running back in their system last year.
well, they got
He was the
is
only
that the
shining light on their whole thing.
I think it was time to pay that guy though. I think you're talking about Spiller.
Yeah, but it was the second year. They said it was a 2 year guy. So he's
Mm.
young. So, unless he was trying to renegotiate his contract, they traded him off to Pittsburgh for Najee Harris.
here's the thing. I ultimately think that Rodgers signs with Pittsburgh. There's no
I do
other
too.
viable option out there for him, and I don't think he wants to
Completely agree.
have McCarthy at Minnesota as an understudy. He doesn't want to do with that at this point in his career. And the chance to win now is with Pittsburgh, and they have the weapons, they have the defense, and it's silly for them not to sign him.
Yeah,
Another purpose on that too is think about this. He knows with Mason Rudolph backing him up, he's going to be a starting quarterback because
Yeah.
there's no way Mason Rudolph is competing for a job against Aaron Rodgers. There's
Yeah, I don't
not.
know. And so here's my thing: you're looking at a 1 or 2 year deal, right? They're not going to sign
I
Aaron
agree.
Rodgers for anything outside of that. So he's 40 years old, 42. I mean, God, he's not the George Foreman of quarterbacks. So let's face it.
man,
And I
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
even sign him for 2 years.
Well, one
Because
year.
all
So
you
it's a
need,
1 year with a 2 year option.
Yeah, I
Pittsburgh
would.
Pittsburgh wants to win now because of the
Yeah.
defense they have, the receivers they have, and the running game. The
Yeah.
only thing that they were struggling with was a quarterback, a solid quarterback. That's why
Yeah.
we brought in two veteran quarterbacks that just didn't pan out because for me, Russell Wilson showed his age in Denver. He was on a decline. Where Aaron Rodgers, when he was playing healthy, it wasn't his offensive abilities. It was the defense kind of letting him down towards the end of those seasons. I mean, if you look at his completions, he was still accurate. He was still hitting the long ball. It's just the Jets didn't have enough weapons to really do anything with him.
Aaron
He
Rodgers
has
played
those
okay the
weapons.
last few games, but I think put it this way: Aaron Rodgers played good the last few games, and Russ was cooking those first few games in Pittsburgh. He
Six.
Yeah.
was cooking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know
Six,
what
but you
happened. I
lost
don't know
six
if it was the
straight.
line or his confidence or maybe people had film on him. But he was straight trash for 5 games. I mean,
Wait. There
only
is,
person that was
you
worse
know
than
But
what?
him
you
was
lost
Kirk
that
Cousins.
playoff too.
Let me just say this, G. There is a combination of those things, right? There's film on you, there's the offensive line, and there's a decline in your athleticism, right? Um,
Yeah.
what I could say, and I've always said this about quarterbacks, is like you can have the Lamar Jackson of the world who have all the athleticism and the arm, but maybe not the cognitive efficiency to be able to make all the reads. So I would rather have a quarterback that could make the throws and make the reads, right? And maybe not be able to do all the Randall Cunningham kind of stuff where they can run for yards, right? So that's the element I think that Rodgers brings. Now he's not going to be able to escape the pocket, right? So it's going to be. I would say that they sign him, they're going to have to enforce their offensive line a little bit and draft for that talent, which is going to take away some other needs that they have, which is a cornerback. So
Yeah.
that's my opinion. I
Well,
feel
I'm
like
gonna I'm gonna
Hey,
make this
hey, but
argument
Travis,
for you,
answer this.
Scott. I'm gonna make this argument for you real quick, and
Yeah.
then you can answer me the question. So, how does Denver get 11 or 12 wins this year, make it into the playoffs, when Russell Wilson had the exact same offense and defense and won 3 or 4 games?
Yeah,
Right?
it's a little tough because Russ was playing okay in early in Denver, but the coach did not want Russ. I could tell that.
wow.
After
But
two
you
games, he
still
didn't
are
want
the
him no
starting
more.
quarterback with 4 wins. And then you bring a rookie quarterback in and he gets 10 or 12 wins for you.
He didn't want him. Hey, but that rookie
But
had
it
played
doesn't matter. It
60,
doesn't matter.
60
If you have
games
the
though.
ability, it doesn't matter if they want you or not. You're going to play to your ability and win games still,
No, he
despite
was
of that.
talking to him bad. I felt bad for Russ, man. I thought he was talking to
But
Russ
he
so
wasn't
bad. I thought
performing.
Sierra was going to
Yeah.
come out on.
But he
I
wasn't
know that.
performing. He
But
wasn't
but
performing.
but what I was going to ask you was those. What y'all lose 5 straight at the end?
Five, no, six, counting the playoff game.
Okay, so but don't you think Justin Field would have won 3 of those games?
I guarantee you. But here's the thing. One thing about the Steelers, even when Ben was, declining with his, and you can see the decline with Ben. The Steelers have a policy, and I think this is the reason why players want to play with them. Because no one will bash the Steelers organization. They don't go from somebody. They won't take you out of a game and say this is going to be our new starting quarterback, which drives me bat crap crazy. Because if you're not performing, get rid of the dude. Don't play him. But there's a
Yeah,
sense of
I'm gonna stay with
loyalty for the
Russ way too
Steelers.
long.
Look at Roethlisberger. He comes back from the elbow injury and then the shoulder stuff. He was playing horrible, but we never switched him out for the next option, and it
Yeah, but I
cost
don't
us
think y'all had
games.
anybody then.
Okay, so I'm
Well,
gonna
we
end it
had
on this. Let me
well,
just end this conversation on this where we switch to our next topic. But I feel like going so what we're talking about is playing within the framework of the offense. And so you have one or two reads. And so a quarterback has, I think, about 3 or 4 seconds to go through his progressions. And if that fails, you have to do something off schedule, right? You have to be able to make a play. And what Wilson brought to the table was that ability, right? Now he doesn't have that, and Rodgers doesn't have that. Rodgers with Green Bay had that ability to extend plays and play essentially playground basketball, football, right? Like basketball, right? And they don't have that anymore. So I agree to an extent that you need someone to play within the framework of the offense, right?
Hmm.
But that I don't know if you want that as a quarterback. You want someone to be able to make plays when that play breaks down, which is frequent, right? You're a defense would be like, well, they're gonna run this play and bust that play up, and you got to be able to extend the play and then make a play. And neither Rodgers or Wilson at this point in their career have that ability.
but
Yeah,
let me
my
just
That's
only
say
it.
thing
this. Let me
about
say
my only
this.
thing about Rogers is Rogers. He don't throw interceptions,
Right.
and he
No,
don't.
Wilson didn't either.
He don't really make
But
mistakes. I mean,
Right.
he gets rid of the ball really quick. That's the
Yeah.
only difference I can say.
But
Yeah.
Wilson didn't make a lot of turnovers
Well, he
either.
took
But
sacks
what I
though.
have seen in the entire season, and I watch every single game, underthrows, missed opportunities. I mean, he just didn't catch the reads. He didn't catch the open receivers. He was underthrowing them. You know, yeah, he didn't throw a lot of interceptions. But if you even look in the playoff games, he had 6 incompletions in that one,
Oh
Right.
yeah, because
where
he was
where
trying
they
to
weren't
get
even
Pickens.
close.
Pickens
Where
was
they
the
weren't
only
even
one he seen
close.
on the whole field.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, he didn't make his
Are we
progressions or
talking about
anything.
Wilson or Rogers?
Wilson.
We talk
Yeah.
about Wilson.
Wilson. So that's
Wilson.
what I'm saying.
Both of
That's where the
them.
6 games lost were.
Here, both of them are, especially Rogers. I don't know about Wilson so much. I didn't follow his career, but Rogers is functioning in a way that he wants you to be exact in your routes. If he, like for example, with his athleticism right now, if he's pressured, he wants to be able to know if I throw that out, you're there, and if I don't see you, you're there. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And that's
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 why
the
he
He
wanted
problem
got
with
that
him.
with
Devontae.
DK and
And
Pickens. He got
you're
that
not,
with DK
no,
and Pickens.
DK is not a route runner. He's a deep threat.
No, what I'm talking about, that's what I'm getting at. And
Yeah,
that's what Pittsburgh wants to do. And Roger has the arm to do it.
yeah.
But one thing about him,
No,
too,
no.
is he
Dude,
overtowers most people. He's
DK
quick.
Metcalf is not a guy that's going to be on schedule at a place. He's not going to be able to run underneath. His route tree is limited. He is a deep threat. And if you look at his production in Seattle, he's not a run after the catch guy. He's not like a Devontae Adams type of player, right? So he's just not
Whoever
that.
plays y'all slot and whoever plays
Yeah.
y'all tight end will get a lot of balls.
I think we're going to draft a receiver as our third. I think George be number one. I think DK be number two. We'll get a third. I'm serious, man.
And the guy
George
y'all
got
got
talent.
from what's the guy y'all got
Warren,
from Williams,
dude.
Mike Williams, y'all got from San Diego,
Yeah,
If
L.A.
they
I think he gonna get some balls too.
if they can get
yeah, he
Warren,
can.
if they can get Warren, the tight end Warren or Copeland, that's their
No,
pick.
no, we got Fryer move. Fryer move.
No, we talking about in the draft.
I'm talking about in the draft. If they
Nah,
can
we
get,
got Fryer move. We're not gonna pick somebody up after Fryer move.
you need a
Fryer
I
move
mean,
is
blocking
y'all,
a.
tight end, dude.
there's some people out there. Okay, let's get
You
into
need
the
a, you
next
go ahead.
the
We
next
got
topic.
Washington. Washington's a big dude. He's 7 foot tall, like
What's up? What's
290.
next? What's next, man?
Okay,
I'm a,
next we're
Yeah,
gonna get into the NBA, the playoff run. There's only like 5 or 6 games left. Um, the Lakers are making moves. The Warriors are making moves. Cleveland's still hot. Boston's on fire. They've won like 8 games in a row on the road.
Minneapolis was doing
Um,
pretty good too.
I mean, there's some good play going on. The Lakers are winning. LeBron's been hurt. Luka's still not playing no defense. He dropped like 35 today and had like 7 assists and 6 boards. How y'all think this is going to end up?
hey, well, I'm gonna say this: if LeBron returns, I think that
Boston.
changes the calculus for the Lakers because they become a real offensive threat, which becomes their offense becomes their defense. Luka has always been a marginal defensive player, but bringing LeBron in changes that. And we know that I don't know what injury LeBron has, but he's going to be out until the playoffs. Even with that, they've been playing pretty good ball. I like,
Yeah.
and they're real competitive in that division. I like Cleveland, and I think that they've rounded up a lot of great young talent combined with their the talent that they have, and I think that that's good. But in the East, Boston, hey man, they're the beast to beat. Milwaukee, and I'm gonna let it be known, I'm a Bucks fan. Lillard is not playing great, or he's not even playing. I think he's injured, and that really hurts them. Uh, and so we'll see if he comes back, they have a chance. I think they can turn it around. And finally, I love what Golden State did by bringing in Jimmy Butler. I think that makes them a threat. He's one of those type of players that can just. I think he can, in the playoffs, particularly in a short run, really impose his will on. And I think that makes them a real contender.
I don't know what he did, but Jimmy Butler got Draymond playing D, got
Yeah.
Steph shooting lights out, and
Yeah.
them youngsters are you either come along or get left. And I mean they what's the kid's name that played last year? They got people balling, and some of them guys I ain't never heard of, but they balling.
So you
Yeah.
Uh,
say Boston, Golden State? Because I think when Boston heats up like this,
Golden State
it's
got a
hard for them to.
long way to go to get through. I mean, you got to get through Denver. You got to get through the Lakers. You got to get through the
I don't think the
Clippers.
Lakers
You
are
got
going
to
to be
get through
relevant, especially if LeBron's
Oklahoma
injured.
City. They're whoever comes out of the West, they're gonna be ready to play. But Boston and Cleveland, I think it's smooth sailing. You can
Yeah,
just
but
write it down.
Yeah.
Them two are going to be meeting at in the East Final.
Yeah.
well, Cleveland bad boys too. Yeah, but what it's just like we were talking about with Houston. You can't count out.
Yeah.
They've been there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They know what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
A lot of people overlook them
hmm
a few times and they made it happen. So
It's
you
going to be
definitely
tough.
don't
It's
want to
going to
say.
be it's going to be tough in the West. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's
But
hollering
I
the
think
West.
Boston. I think Boston for the East. I think Boston can beat
I
Cleveland.
mean, Cleveland's on pace. They play the Kings tonight, but Cleveland's on pace to win 70 games. I mean, 70. That's a lot of wins.
Mhm.
And in Boston, they basically just waiting to see who they play because they're bored. But
What
they've
happened
won
with
7 in a row on the road.
what
Nobody's done
happened
that
with the
since the
record?
Warriors went 73 and something.
What happened when Golden State had the record for the
We talking
most
about
games in
that?
the
Come on,
season?
bro. Look, let me
Uh,
say this.
I'm just
man,
saying
you know
Look,
what?
look.
Let
it,
me tell you something.
it happens.
Hold on.
Since Boston got Porzingis, that team is different, man. White had 40. Pritchard had 40. Their bench players are getting 40. Even old
Yeah.
man is playing
It's
good.
when
Boston.
they heat up. It's how they heat up.
Boston is strong in a 7-game series. And I think Cleveland ultimately is vulnerable. I don't think that they're the crown jewel of the East.
Yeah,
And I think that a team that's playing well could come in and beat them. Like with Boston, I'm not sure. I
and
think that they're
experience
probably
too.
going to
And
be in the
Boston is
final.
actually better on the road.
And then
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I mean,
on
they
the
can.
side of the West, like you have Golden State, you have the Lakers, but I wouldn't count out OKC with Jay. What's
I'll
it?
give you that. OKC's in the running.
Kid Gilders Alexander. I think.
Shea Kit,
Yeah,
Figures,
he is a
SGA.
generational talent that can get his shot anywhere he
Holmgren's
wants to,
back. I mean, they're
anywhere.
deep too.
They're deep.
Yeah,
I'm not sure Minnesota is a threat. They're just not. And I think that they proved that last year. They need some other pieces, but I
yeah, they're
like
too
OKC.
inconsistent.
I don't
Yeah,
know if they're going to make it. And to your point, Scott, I do agree that Jimmy Butler has changed the culture there in Golden State and added to what Stephen Curry has already done is said, "Hey, look, we're going to be pros. We're going to be the pros, and everybody's going to perform." And he's brought out more. I
but
don't
you
like
know the difference I
Draymond,
see.
but yeah,
Yeah, but the
Wiggins used to score.
leaders.
yeah,
Wiggins would score 27 points, and you
right,
wouldn't even know he's on the floor. Jimmy Butler can score 18, and he's everywhere. He's
yeah,
passing. He's rebounding. He's
yeah,
guarding their best big. He's all over the place. And he,
yeah,
like I
But
said,
Golden State has the leaders that can motivate the other players. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And
yeah,
and if you think about all the like
mm,
LeBron brought up every team he played on. Kobe
yeah,
did the same thing. Michael did the same thing. Steph Curry has that championship blood too, man. I mean, you can't downplay because they know what it takes to get to that championship game.
yeah,
That's why I
yeah.
wouldn't count them out.
yeah.
I
And
That
it's
definitely,
they have,
you know what? I wouldn't count them out either. And I wouldn't count the Clippers out. And they've been
nah,
really out.
Clippers are pretty good
oh
too.
man,
They're a pretty tough team, but honestly, I'm gonna say this, and it's a bad harbinger for the NBA because previously in previous years, October, November, I was watching games, but now I'm just not watching it. It's just not as must see TV. There's too many other options like Severance and Dave the Jackal I can watch instead of watching NBA games. You know what I mean?
it it's
Uh,
it
yeah.
yeah,
It's
and
not
and
must
pretty
see
much it's
TV.
all set. I mean,
Mhm.
I think the only thing that's going to change is I think in the East it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but in the West it's going to matter who plays OKC, and then it's
Yeah.
going to matter who plays who. Like you don't want to be playing Denver. It's your first
Yeah.
round
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but
Somebody's
because
going home.
the
You know what I
East
mean?
is really a battle of two teams, as far
Yeah.
as I'm concerned. You know,
And I hate to overlook Houston. They got Adoka's doing a great job. He done took whatever he did to Boston and he done put it in Houston. And they got a bunch of young players, but it seems like they take nights off. And I ain't worried about Memphis because they fired their coach and Jaws acting like a fool. I don't see them going nowhere, even though their record is different. But
Did he
I
get
think it's
caught with another gun?
no, what he's been doing. If you ain't been following it, he keeps after he makes a basket, he does this gun gesture, and him and Buddy Hill was shooting at each other with fingers. After this dude got suspended 20 games, 25 games for having a gun, so they told him stop, right? And what did he do the very next game? And they think he's just mocking them. He's like, "I'm gonna do me." He said, all I'm doing is celebrating. Everybody else
G,
does it.
G,
But
G,
the other
G,
people
wait.
didn't have guns and
Wait,
get suspended for that.
G, what does that speak to the team? Does that speak to a deficit of leadership?
Well, they fired the
They don't have
coach,
a
and the coach,
veteran presence that says, here's how to be a pro. And so they ain't
they
got
don't
it.
have
that's
it.
the problem.
Yeah.
That is the problem.
They
Yeah.
got
You
rid
need
of their
someone that
veterans.
tells you how to be a pro, how to be an adult, how to be mature, how to lead a team. When you got talent like Morant has, he shouldn't be doing that stuff.
And
And
his problem is
ultimately,
his daddy is co-signing it. His daddy be at the game. His
right.
family travel with him, and they co-sign that. They like,
Right.
you do you. Don't worry about the commissioner. It's a joke.
You know, but it's
They,
not just about him. It's about the team. It's about the NBA and marketing as well. You want somebody that, kids can be like, I want to be like this person. I want to play. He inspires me, right? And if you don't have the emotional maturity or the intellectual capacity to make good decisions out there and then still think it's about you, you're
yeah.
failing not only
And it's
yourself, but the
crazy
league
because
as well.
he is Clarence. He lives at home and he has really nice parents. And he went to
Right.
private school. And
Right.
he's trying to act like he's gangster and he's not.
But let's be real, man. That's most of what you see. Chris Brown. Chris Brown's tied up in all that nonsense, and he didn't come from that background.
Right.
You had Tupac. Tupac really didn't come from that background. He went to a school of performing arts, and
Yeah.
then when he gets to California, he a gangster, beating
Yeah.
up on trips and
What's the
stuff like
Bible
that.
say
So it's the
about
people.
sparing
It's the
the
people who
rod?
lose success. Yeah,
You got to bring the rod against. I mean, sometimes men need a hard hand. You need to do tough discipline to make them.
Well, when your daddy's at your club with you, then it's
If
a
you at the
problem.
club and joining and went, you ain't giving us right example, and maybe that's the part. I don't
And
know.
what I said when it first went down, I said somebody, his friends, his family,
Right.
somebody's not protecting the bag. He lost his part of his shoe contract. He lost his other endorsement contract.
Yeah.
Memphis he was supposed to have the super max,
Right.
and it cost him like $100,000 because he did not make the All NBA team. It's $100 million. So he got signed. He just got fined 75,000, and he thinks it's a joke.
Fool me
they think
one.
it's a joke to the
Hey,
offseason.
what they say? What's the adage? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice,
Yeah.
shame on me, man. If I
And
bring
the
two
commissioner, he's
guns,
trying to make friends.
I
You
ain't no
know,
2 Chainz.
if that was David Stern, come on, man. David
I got
Stern
two. I
got
got
mad
one
because
phone. No two
Allen Iverson
phones.
wouldn't wear a suit. You think he gonna play with some guns? It's
Yeah.
crazy, man. So anyway, NBA. Who do y'all real quick? Who do y'all got in the NBA? Who's coming out of the East and who's coming out of the West?
I'm stick with
Boston out the
Boston.
East. Yo, we said it in echo. We said it in concert with each other.
You got
Yeah,
both of y'all got
Boston.
Boston.
Boston out
Yeah.
the East. Boston.
Yeah, man, it's tough, man. Boston don't lose. But I think if anybody can beat Boston,
In
I think
Cleveland.
Cleveland can. So I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna take Cleveland. And then who y'all got coming out of the West?
Too many to say.
OKC.
I got Oklahoma City. I've been saying that since the
What?
beginning. I think they're ready.
How you read my mind? Wait a minute. You check.
I
I'm checking my
I
Wi-Fi.
say
Wi-Fi.
I'll ride with Oklahoma. I'll go with OKC, but I'm not counting out Golden State only because they have a lot of veteran players. The teams you least expect to get somewhere are normally carried because of their veterans, and they don't make a difference in that team.
Yeah.
You know,
I just
when it comes down to it,
man, I think man,
they know how to win. They've
I
done it
I,
before and
I
proved
mean
it.
when I look at the West, take Oklahoma City out of it. I think Houston will lose. But who's gonna lose? Who's gonna lose? You got the Clippers, you got the Warriors, you got the Lakers, and you got Denver.
And I think it's funny that
Who's
none of
gonna
us
lose?
even considered the Lakers.
Who's gonna lose? Who's gonna
Lakers.
lose out of them guys? If
Hey man,
LeBron don't play,
The
LeBron's
Lakers
been kind of
lose.
come back. You know, he's been playing, but when LeBron sits out, they don't win.
dude.
That's what I'm
They don't win
saying.
Let
because
me just say this: LeBron is LeBron, but Bronny ain't the type of paper towel. Remember that paper towel, the Bronny paper? He ain't the tough one. You try to soak up some shit and get some
where do
shit
y'all
done with that
stand on
Bronny, you
that?
gonna
That's
be
another
getting
subject.
many
Where do
times. You
y'all
gonna go through
stand?
the whole road before you can
What do y'all
get
think about Stephen A. Smith? Is LeBron right or Stephen A. right?
Stephen A.
Stephen A.
Because here's the reason why. Stephen
I
A
think
is
there was nothing wrong with what LeBron said. I think he was just wrong when he said, I think you should stick up for your son, right? But I think it's wrong when, to two wrongs. I think Stephen A shouldn't be talking about the 55th pick in the draft because if you go by all the other late draft picks, ain't nobody talking about him. Ain't nobody talking about him. He's just doing that because that's LeBron's son. And then it's coming out. Stephen A
I don't know.
has a vendetta against LeBron because LeBron don't like him, and he don't like Stephen A because Stephen A keeps saying that Michael Jordan is the GOAT and that
No,
LeBron's number two.
I don't even think it's about that. I think here's what it is. I think when you attack someone's son by telling facts, you're telling facts. And then look how they're handling the situation. You bring him up from a B squad to play 15 minutes on occasion for home games.
Yeah,
Who
but
does,
but
who has the autonomy to do something like that for any
but
player
but
but LeBron?
in Bronny's defense, Bronny was dropping 30 in the G League. Even the Kings, if you drop 30 in the G League, they bring you up.
So, in that defense, what has he done in the A League?
He ain't done nothing. He's like
My point. So so
one and one.
so my point is this. So Stephen A is not supposed to point that out, and he's an analyst who
I know,
actually
but I think
watches
he's
and breaks down
focusing on it.
games.
Nobody else is focusing on it.
But what I'm saying is he's commented about other terrible players too, whether it be football, baseball, or
Oh
basketball.
yeah,
So
he
why
does.
is that an exception because of who the father of the player is?
Because I think he
He's
brings it
he
up
he
every time
he
he
attacked
mentions the
Shedeur
Lakers. He talk
Sanders.
about Bronny, and how you talking about Connect or Uchimura
But let me ask you a
or you know what I
question.
mean?
But let me ask you a question. How did this get inflated? But when he was talking trash on Shedeur Sanders, when he first went to Colorado and made some mistakes, you didn't hear Dion, who was coaching the team, saying, "Hey, Stephen A, that ain't right." No, he
I
called
think
him
it's
out on
different
that,
because
and he worked.
Okay,
No, he
wait.
worked
All
but you're
right,
on
let
talking
me
he
about
worked on those
where
flaws,
Shadeur
and
hold on.
became a
is
Wait,
better
top
player
10
because
hold
of that
on.
and
Hit the
Bronny
criticism.
ain't
buzzer.
never
Hit the
been.
buzzer. Hit the buzzer. Let me chime in. So we're talking about nepotism, right? So we're
Yeah,
talking about father son. Does does LeBron, just because he's LeBron, have the right to bring along his son, and is it the same thing? And I don't know. And I would ask you guys in the history of the league, as far as a percentage, we could talk about the Mannings of the world, but how many father son tandems have there been that led to success? You can talk
Well, the
about
worst
Marvin
offender,
Harrison,
in
I
my
guess Marvin
opinion,
Harrison
happened
Jr.
in it happened in Green Bay. It was the Antetokounmpo
God damn. You done messed up,
when
man.
Giannis
Take
had his
my
brother
players' name out your mouth.
when when Giannis brought his brothers to hang on the bench
What
with him.
the
Nah,
hell?
man.
Yeah, I mean,
All
I
right,
don't
let
know
me
how
just say,
many. Like, if there is a player that would like Michael Jordan, his sons weren't good enough to play in the NBA, right? You don't hear
No.
about Charles Barkley's kids, or you hear the rare instance of Dale Curry and his son, right? You hear the rare
Mm,
instance of Archie Manning and the Manning brothers, but you don't see that, and that's probably 1% of all talent, right? That
right.
well, the
doesn't mean
Watts, you had the
right.
Watt brothers.
Yeah, the Watt
I mean, we
brothers.
can't just throw, and we're talking
Yeah,
about two potential Hall of
yeah.
Famers.
Yeah,
But
no,
you
but
know
their
what?
daddy
I
ain't
mean,
on the
I'm
team
gonna say
saying, "Hey,
this,
man,
Trav.
draft."
T.
This is where LeBron messed up. When LeBron
Well,
said,
wait a minute now.
Wait.
"Draft
There was two
me,"
Watts on the Steelers,
I know,
or
but he said,
fullback
"Draft
in,
my son if
Yeah.
you want me." That's where he messed up.
Wait. Yeah.
and that's
And
what I'm
so
saying.
all
So
those
you open yourself for criticism.
exactly, Scott. T. I agree with you, Trav. But you know, those players, the Watt brothers, I can't. I don't remember one of those players didn't earn their spot. Like who they didn't need
I
someone
agree with
advocating
you.
for them.
Listen, listen. This is what LeBron said. He
Right.
might not be Bronny as far as paper
Right.
towels, but he is something. He's one ply toilet paper. So why would you bring some toilet paper to the
Hey,
league like that,
hey,
bro?
but hey, but LeBron took a pay
I wouldn't
cut
even
and
He
want
ain't
put
even
paper
one
my ass in
paper
fly,
that
out there,
bro.
dude,
man.
man.
He the kind that you wipe and you look your hand, be like, ah, damn.
Yeah,
Watch
I got shit
Come
on
on,
my
man.
fingers. Definitely
That's
LeBron
foul
back
ball,
there.
man. Come on, man.
He got the right paper with the wrong names.
I don't know. I
They
don't
should have
know.
named them one ply.
What's below one
The
ply?
only thing, my only problem
Fly.
with
See through.
Bronny's development is Bronny. He should have stayed at USC, man. He should have stayed, played 3 years, get his game together. I mean, he just not. He's not up to par. I mean, if you look at some of the NBA rookies, like the first year and second year guys, he's not in the same caliber.
Yeah.
And I think actually his brother Bryce is better than Bronny
Hey
Two
Scott.
names I don't
and
even know.
taller
Scott.
and taller.
I know. Scott. Is that a bathroom behind you? Go get yourself a roll of toilet paper. You in LA? You in California?
Come on,
Bro,
man.
if you said his brother was named Tyrone, I'd be like, okay. I
His
don't know.
brother's name is Bryce, and
Here's the
Bryce
problem.
ball.
They
Yeah.
they the name recognition that you also would have gotten by having a great college career, you don't get anymore. So
No.
I don't know these players, and that's it was hurting the league today. Like, do
Hey,
you
we forgot
some
another duo. The
who?
Sharps.
Oh, okay,
Now
yeah,
both are Hall of Famers.
yeah, but like I said, like Shannon wouldn't say, "Well, hey, you gotta, I gotta advocate for." I'm sorry, Sterling wasn't saying I gotta advocate for Shannon. They
Yeah.
both
That's what I'm
Shannon
saying.
earned his spot as a tight end. Sterling was a wide receiver, right? He wasn't saying you bring my brother on. You
Man,
know what I mean?
LeBron won
Mhm.
the Lakers a championship, and he felt like they owed him, and they were going to appease him to keep him.
Right.
He had a
So,
dream. It wasn't in Word Up magazine and none of that. He just wanted to
yeah.
play with his son.
LeBron,
So in return, they got a year supply of one ply toilet paper added to their
no,
team.
no, no.
Hey,
It,
man,
it
he
ain't
might
one
get it
ply. It's just
together,
ply.
man. He might be a late
Ply toilet
bloomer.
paper. Fly.
He
It
might
I
be a
like
only
late
had
that.
bloomer.
it only had a P. It's lie. Lie toilet paper because there's a lie that Bronny got any talent NBA
For the
worthy
next
at all.
show, I'm gonna do some research,
Wait a
and I'm gonna
minute,
check the other players in the
Chris.
draft.
I don't completely agree with that.
I'm gonna check the other players in the
They need
draft and see
somebody to
how they're
give them
doing.
Ah,
towels when they're sweating, right?
it ain't even live toilet paper. It's I. You can't.
Hey,
You don't. Nobody look at a Y and
I'm gonna send
pronounce it
y'all the
I.
link of Bronny in the G League, and y'all tell me what y'all think.
What
No,
It's
is
send
the
night
us
and
a
G
day.
link.
League,
Send
dude?
us a link of Bronny in the A League.
Hey, let me
And you
ask
know
you
who
this:
that is?
if
You
you
know who that
What?
is?
No, because then
It's the
you'll
guy
see
hey,
that
that's
him shooting
handing.
that 3 air
It's
ball.
the guy that's handing the five starters water.
hey, let me
No,
ask you this: let's say you in Sioux City where they got a G League. Are you going to those games? Who are
I've been to
playing?
the Stockton Kings a couple times, but I
Who?
only went there when the pros were playing.
Oh Lord.
Hey,
I'm,
$20, $20,
I'm not
and there's
going.
not a bad seat in the place.
Yeah, because they didn't
And
empty seats.
and
Every
Lottie was
seat empty.
there,
Yeah.
Tasia was there. Who else was there? There's some other former Kings there.
So
Mm-mm.
you're saying that because the Kings play so poorly that they can get nosebleeds and walk to courtside, huh? Because there
Right.
ain't no fans out there.
No. Mm, it's
10
probably like
people.
5,000 people at the game.
There's
Nothing
5,000
like that.
people to
Hey, but
see
the Kings are in the playoffs.
me,
Hey, hey,
They ain't
Scott,
you,
you're
playing.
right.
and Pittsburgh Trav playing in the G
No,
League. There's 5,000 people seeing that.
no, he's talking about the Kings
5,000
games
people.
Oh, he
at
talking about the
the
Kings or
beginning.
the G
The
I'm talking.
League?
They
Kings,
call the Stockton Kings 209. Stockton Kings.
Oh
yeah,
They
but
Lord.
played. They
you're
played the East
counting.
Bay Lakers, which
It's
Bronny played
serious, man.
for.
You know, them people out in California spending money on crazy shit. Ain't
Hey
no
man.
way in
No,
hell we gonna
Hey,
go
Chris,
you
see
got
the
a youth group.
Stockton Kings.
You got a
Chris.
youth
You
group. You got
know
a
who the five
nonprofit. We
thousand
get you free
are?
tickets.
What?
You know who the five
Oh,
thousand are?
What?
There's people that's running a concession, parking your car, the door security, the
Dude, the
ushers.
ratings are
no.
down. Nobody's
Hey,
watching it.
I
You
didn't
know
tell
why
y'all that
nobody's
they give.
watching it? There's not a compelling story. There's not a player you can get behind. There's not a high school player that paid his dues that you like a Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan. There's no player like that. That's why
But
nobody
wait,
wants to.
wait.
And wait. And the problem is that when they get there, they entitled and think like the world belongs to them, and honestly, nobody wants to see it. It's boring. And here's the other problem: the game is boring. It's kick out, 3-point shot. It's
Now
not
it
exciting
is.
stuff to watch.
No
It's
drive, no dunks. It's just
no
a
nothing, no
like a
matchups,
days old game.
no strategy. It's the same game because the rules are around scoring threes and stuff like that. And it's not must see TV. I'd rather watch Severance. I'm telling you.
What? But in the playoffs, you'll see some ball coming up.
I
You'll
mean, it's
get to see some
different in the
ball.
playoffs
Right.
because 2 points matter, where it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
not always just a three game.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, every point matters in the
Oh,
playoffs.
but
Let
So
me ask
that's
you
a
agree.
this.
different
I
game.
Okay,
mean,
so let me ask you guys this. Count on how many games have you watched? How many NBA games have you watched this year since November from start to finish? How many?
uh, man, I don't have an attention span for that. Um, I Let me
Yeah.
tell you honestly what I do.
I would rather watch
I
the end,
record the
so I
Kings.
know.
I watch the first quarter, and I watch the fourth quarter. And then, to me, if you want to watch an NBA game, the best quarter is the third quarter. Truly, it's the third quarter.
So
I've seen people
your
score
answer is
50
zero.
points in one quarter.
Is your answer zero?
None.
Trav, what
Not
about
even
you?
when the
I'm
Lakers
with
play
you
the
on that.
Kings. I didn't watch the
I'll
whole
watch
thing.
if it's on, and
Yeah.
Uh,
then when it becomes too like predictable,
Right.
then I'm off. I'm out.
yeah,
You know,
I've
but
because
watched I've watched two Bucks games, two out of the 82 from
yeah.
start to finish.
mhm.
And I didn't
That's
mention
it.
the Bucks because if Dame Lillard is out,
Yeah,
then the Bucks are done.
don't make me come
Yeah.
after you. I know your
The
address.
Bucks
I
put
know
a
your
fork in
address.
them.
Don't be talking about my team no more. I'm just telling your ass that.
All right, I'll stop talking about him when Giannis makes his free throws.
Hey, if it's like any of us right now, we ain't gonna know what the outcome of the game is anyway. Because by the third quarter, it'll probably be off TV anyhow. No, unless you
All
Hey,
right,
watch it
all
on
right. Real quick
ESPN.
before we wrap this up, you have been
yep.
listening to Brother to Brother Sports. Real quick before we wrap this up, let's circle back to Shedeur Sanders, his pro day. It happened. I watched a little bit of it. It was very textbook. It was nothing fancy or whatever. Uh, I hated the interviews. He was very cocky. He was very conceited.
Look at his dad.
Man, I really like this kid. but
Gotta sell
man, he
itself though.
he looks bad on camera.
Right.
I'm sure some fan base, New York, I think he'll do great. I don't see somebody who acts like that on on a losing team. He can't keep that spirit going on a losing team.
We're gonna be in
What are your
Cleveland.
thoughts on his pro day? What are your thoughts? People are actually now they're starting to say that if he gets past the Giants, there's the Saints and then there's the Steelers. And
Nah,
I didn't hear that for a month, but now
I think
people
he's
are
gonna go
starting
to
to say that.
Cleveland.
What are y'all thoughts?
My
I think
go
he's
ahead.
gonna go to Cleveland. Cleveland.
Hmm. I think Cleveland. I don't. I think that he is a first round talent, but I think he goes to the Saints maybe in the later rounds. I don't think he's a top 10 pick, and I wouldn't invest a top 10 pick on him. I will wait until another
Well,
probably put
there's
him.
nobody in Cleveland. There's nobody.
What
So they're
what
gonna
I
rely on the draft. There's two quarterbacks that are worth a crap,
Right.
and Cleveland's in need of a quarterback. They have the
well, I'm just
defense with
coming up
Miles
with this. This
Garrett
is
and
my
everybody.
little theory. I'm thinking that Cleveland is going to trade for Kirk Cousins, and that
Yeah.
they're going to draft either Hunter or another good player, and then I think Shedeur is going to end up going to the Saints.
So here's a real question: is
Huh?
that all of a sudden because Shedeur is the locker room problem that he is, does that elevate a player like Jackson Dart?
Well,
You know
I
what I
I
think
mean?
keep
Miami has
saying
the
that the
best
Saints are
quarterback in the
going to take
draft.
Dart, regardless if Shedeur is there. But I
Do
think
you think they're
the
gonna take him ahead of Shedeur?
I think they're going to take a quarterback regardless. I think
Okay.
they're going to take if Shadeur's gone, they're going to take Dart.
You
Um,
want to know what's so funny about this, though, man? And this is football. The two people from Michigan played in the national championship, and then well, Notre Dame, their quarterback was pretty good that year too. I mean, we're not even talking about them going
nope,
high in the draft because
nope,
they really weren't great quarterbacks. They played in a great system, and therefore, but Miami, that kid, man, he's special. I think
yep.
he's better than
The
Shador.
old lineman from Missouri. I mean,
Yeah.
there's going to be some good players that get skipped over because people are playing with these quarterbacks.
You know,
Yeah.
here's my thing. When you're building a team, you also building the locker room. You're building a culture of winning, and you want the people in your primary positions to be good leaders. You don't want them to be me players or any of that kind of stuff or showboat players. And there's a world for that after you've succeeded, but you can't come in and lead a group of men starting out from that place. And I said this the last podcast. I just don't think he brings that element to the table. It's unfortunate, and I understand the bling bling kind of philosophy that Dion has done and promoted with his kids, and I understand it's about your marketing and all that kind of stuff. That's great, but that doesn't build a winning franchise. It doesn't build a winning culture, and that's what
I,
builds
thi-
championships.
Me personally, I hope he goes to the Giants because I don't think he'll survive in
They
Cleveland.
got Russell Wilson though, and they
He
got
can,
what's his name from
Mhm.
Seattle.
yeah, I
So
know
I don't
that.
see them.
And
I don't see them having
I
that kind
thought
of
maybe he would go
competition.
to the Raiders, but the Raiders just paid Geno.
That's what
The
I'm getting at.
Raiders
You're
and
not spending
Saints
that kind
are
of.
his target, man.
So
That's his
here's the
bottom.
thing: the Giants just paid Russell Wilson $32 million a year for 3 years. Then they paid
Yeah,
what's his name from
but
Winston
but
from Seattle all that money too. So
yeah,
you're
no,
gonna
but
bring in a rookie too? I
yeah,
don't
no,
see
but
that
the
happening.
Giants didn't pay Russ nothing. But Geno got paid.
No,
Geno's
no,
making like
Russ
35.
is making 36 per year for 3 years,
No.
unless the contract changed,
No,
because he
Russ
did
is
his
sold
Hey,
press
for a
hey,
song
conference.
and a
let me
dance.
say this. Here's a real question: is Shedeur Sanders does he even get picked in the first round? Is he a first
I
round
think he will.
talent? Like,
Blasphemy!
I
hold
think
on,
he will.
Blasphemy!
wait.
But
Let me just
let
say
me just
this.
say this. Let me say this.
Let me say this. T. Uh, let's say he's in last year's draft.
Wrong answer.
If he's in last year's draft, with all those quarterbacks, does he even get picked in the first
No,
round?
not last year, but this year, yes. And here's the reason why I say this.
Right.
I like his cockiness for one reason, because there's one of two things that happens when you're that cocky, right? You put a huge target in your on your back to perform.
Yeah.
Just like let's say this with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan comes out of North Carolina. He wasn't even the best college player coming out of that draft. But with the shoe deal, he bet on himself. He had a sense of cockiness, and then once he got that deal and asked for a percentage of each shoe, which nobody was getting at that time, he had to perform. So he created that pressure. Muhammad Ali, he talked all that trash, and he knew once he got in that ring, he had to back that stuff up. You know what I'm saying? So when
Right.
you have players like Dion put that big target on his back. Here's this kid, he ain't played one snap in the NFL, and he's talking about Neon, Dion, and all this other crap. When he got there, he
Only thing I
performed.
can say about
So,
Shedeur, 75% completion rates, 61 touchdowns. I mean,
so why not
he's not
talk
a
your game
scrub.
up? Because here's the thing: the bigger you talk, the harder you fall. Unless you perform up to that standard, and
Yeah.
if you don't
Here's
perform up to
here,
that standard,
here's
then they
here's the
go in with
problem.
you.
Here's the problem with that
Real quick,
argument.
Chris. Fact check. Russell Wilson's contract is 10.1 million for 1 year.
Oh, so he only did 1 year
That's
deal.
it. Peanuts.
Yeah,
Here's the
yeah, but
problem
here's the
with
thing:
the
he's a career
Shedeur
backup now.
Sanders argument about his bravado and promoting himself and stepping up in face of what his words are. He can just say a thing and talk it into existence. It's a team game, right? Quarterbacks
I agree.
are the focal point of the offense, but you have to put the ball in play. It everything has to work in sync. And so, not only do you have to make the read, you have to make the right throw, you have to have the right block, you have to do that, but you have to lead men. The quarterback is a position that has to lead men to get something accomplished, right? And so if you're bringing in an element that it's not it's about me, it's not about the team. I think you're starting off in a place where you're handicapping your team, in my
But
opinion.
here, let's say this. Let's say this:
You're not.
about
It's not the same as
70% of
Dion and those one
no, no,
position
no.
players. I
I'm
don't think
not.
it's the same.
I'm not talking about Dion and all those guys, but I'm talking about 70% of the players that you would hear like Brady. Brady was cocky as hell. He was.
Yeah.
He's yelling at officials and
Not
everybody. But
not when he was
everybody
at
said.
Michigan.
But let me just say this though: all those guys that talked themselves up and played cocky, everyone said that they loved playing with those guys and they were great team players. Talk is one thing,
I
but
don't
how
know
you
anybody.
perform
I'm
yourself.
trying to think of somebody that
James
came
Harrison.
out of.
James Harrison said, "I hated Tom Brady until I played with him,"
I just can't think of
and
anybody who
everybody
came out
said
of
that.
college like that.
I'm just saying, Dion was taught, but
Jamarcus.
ask anybody who played with him. They said that they loved Dion Sanders, and he
I,
helped put them in
that goes
positions
back
to
to the
succeed.
the anomaly that ain't the regular guy. I
Yeah.
can't think of anybody. Okay,
Yeah.
I
I
can.
mean,
Let me give you back. Let me tell you two people. When Baker came out of college, he was cocky as hell. And when Johnny Manziel came out of college, he
But
was
Johnny was a
cocky as
different
hell, but
story.
sucked.
But listen, Baker, everybody loves playing with Baker.
Do you? I know, but do you think Johnny? Do you think Shedeur is more Johnny Manziel or is he more Baker? Because
I think
Baker
he's
can
more
play.
Baker.
but
I
bro,
think
bro,
I think
bro,
it's hype because he's trying to get
Dion
that best contract.
Dion has how many responsibilities as a cornerback? Right? He can be playing off court coverage. He can be playing man. He's not in charge of the entire offense, right, or the entire defense. He's not
Or
even a
the
play
face of the
caller.
team.
He's not even a play caller on defense, right? It's just one position. As a quarterback, you are the guy. You are the guy that looks that all the players look to. You are the guy that has to get people in the right positions. You are the guy that has to read the defense. You have to make the throws.
But he was one of those unicorns, though, man. He reminds me of the Rod Woodsons, the Troy Polamalos, the
Mm-mm.
Ed Reeds, and then yeah, because here's the thing, he played up. Look how many sacks he got from the corner position. I mean,
Yeah,
so
I'm
you
just
got
saying,
Reeds
like,
on the corner. Because here's the thing: to abandon your receiver to know that I'm going to rush the quarterback. That's a responsibility. when he's seen players out of position, Dion was one of those guys that yelled at other players about getting in positions. So he actually did command the
He didn't
back
do it as a
half
rookie.
of the field.
Yeah, I don't know,
No,
man.
but he grew into that.
Yeah, there's risk taking as a cornerback. Like, you have a responsibility. You can come off your guy and maybe make a play. But
Hey, if you get
but
scorched in
I
that
don't I think
position, you lose.
I think that gets elevated from the quarterback position, right? You play the the coach calls a play, he designs a play to succeed, right? They know
Hmm.
the tendencies of the defense. This play is going to do that, right? If that play is covered up, then you got to go off schedule. Your opportunities to go off schedule are more prevalent as a quarterback than there are as a cornerback, right? You
Did you
got
hear
one
Dick
or two.
LeBeau? Have you ever heard Dick LeBeau speak about how he ran the defense for the Steelers throughout all those years? He said there was players that he knew
Well,
actually knew the game. They seen it differently than anyone. He did that with Rod Woodson. He did that with Ike Taylor. He
right.
also did that with Troy Polamalu. He said, "Listen, you know what you're seeing out there. Play what you see. If you notice something, a shift or whatever, act on that." He never really coached those guys. I
Yeah.
think Dion was in that same position too. He knew that if somebody was single covering Dion,
Yeah.
ain't nobody throwing on that side of the field. But also, I think coaches, because think about it, you're coaching. You're coaching because you knew the game so well. So I think he had way more responsibilities than we want to put on them. And you got to understand, a corner is the
He didn't
last
have
line
it
of
as a
defense.
freshman.
But what I'm saying is, a corner is the last line of defense.
you know,
If you get
I,
scorched there, then you losing the game.
do you remember Bill
You
Russell?
Hey,
can run and
Remember
your
Bill
corner
hey,
can
Russell?
come up and
Let me say this. Bill Russell coached Lawrence Taylor, right? You guys remember that? And Lawrence Taylor would make a lot of plays, a lot of sacks. He was a terror, right? He came in. He's a Hall of Fame player that make plays off. He would do a lot of things, but really, he also would just do things that he wasn't supposed to, right? A lot of times he would be in out of position because he was supposed to cover the tight end or cover something else,
well, that's the
right?
funniest thing about that.
Yeah,
He was an outside linebacker.
yeah.
And he said
He made a lot
himself,
of mistakes, a lot
he
of them.
said, I did not know
Yeah,
coverage side, but I knew the rest of the.
yeah,
And at first, Bill Parcells, it drove him nuts. But then when he was successful,
I know,
Bill
but
yeah,
was like, go on, do what you're doing.
I
You know
yeah.
what
think
I'm
on the
saying?
defensive side of the ball, there's anomalies. I think speed and strength and talent makes up for that attitude. And
Yeah.
you could you know what I mean? It's different. On the offense side of the ball, you gotta have the goods. You can't fake the funk. You
No,
can't.
no, no. Yeah, you're right. I agree with you. You have to, like, I
Can't.
watched Jordan Love in his last season, and sometimes he would make the right read. Sometimes he didn't make the right read. A lot of times it was just off schedule stuff and him trying to make a play, right? And I don't think that the other positions have that responsibility of having to lead men, having to read defenses, and then make a play when there's not one. I think that it's fortunate that you might have two reads as a cornerback. You can leave your guy and then cover another guy, or you can do zone or something like that, or play man. But it's a different dynamic. I think Shedeur Sanders is not. I don't know him, but as far as leading and what he's presenting on tape, I don't know if he can lead men. And
Okay, so I'm gonna do your comparison real quick, Travis. Okay, Jordan Love, last year of college, 3,400 yards, 20 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Okay,
Hmm.
y'all ready? Shedeur Sanders last year, 4,200 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 picks.
No, I'm not arguing. You're not making any
And he
comparisons to
has
me. I know.
arguably the highest completion percentage, which is 75% in college.
I hear you, but it didn't equate to wins with Colorado because where were they at when the
Well,
national
it's a complete
championship came
team. I
around?
mean, it's a complete
I mean,
team.
they're looking at those intangibles too. But
And
what I'm saying is this:
the plus for Shador is that he did all that with a bad offensive line, and that
Yeah.
if he goes to the Giants, he's going to have a bad offensive
I
line.
don't think he's going to the
If he
Giants. I
goes
think he
to
was going to
Cleveland,
Cleveland.
his offensive line still going to be suspect because they're playing with a rookie quarterback.
But let me tell you this. Let me
Hold
tell
on,
you
hold
this.
on.
Going into a situation like Cleveland for him would be like what Ben Roethlisberger did with Pittsburgh when they went 13-0 under Ben Roethlisberger, because you have a strong running game, you have a great defense, you have good receivers, and all he has to do is just do what he did in college. Don't turn the ball over a lot, manage the plays you can manage, and then you'll get out of that first season in a pretty good situation. You go to the Giants, they're gonna murder you, and then your career is gonna probably start going into decline, and you a career backup.
I don't know. He has to be better than Daniel Jones.
Let me ask you a question:
Wait.
Who who is
Hold on,
best
hold on. I
equipped
got the
for
floor
that?
now because I'm feeling disrespected that my boy JustG just called my man out, Jordan Love, on the table and compare him to Shedeur. You know what I'm saying? And talking about his touchdown to percentage and all this other mess,
Man,
right?
how did he get drafted? 2,400 yards, 20 touchdowns. 20 touchdowns? Is that in 3 games?
Shador is a good talent, and I would still draft Jordan Love ahead of him. That's what I would say.
We say
Well,
Uh,
that
that's because
now.
he's beating the Cowboys
leaders,
27-0. When Shador's
leadership,
beating the Cowboys 27-0, I'm gonna call
patience,
you.
leadership, patience, all the disciplinary things that you have in place, and the athleticism is the same. I think that if Jordan Love is with Colorado, he does the same thing.
I know, but if y'all drafted Jordan Love and he was going and hey,
I wouldn't want him. Yeah.
Shedeur, what would you tell a team? They're getting you the team that's going to get you, Shedeur. What would you tell them? Hey man, they getting me, man. They getting me. They getting all this,
So
huh?
if it like if I was a teammate of Shador, I would support him and say, yeah, man, hey, we won, we did this, we did that. You know, we did all this other stuff, and he's a great player. In the locker room, I don't know if I would feel that he's a guy that's got my back. I
Do
feel
you
like
do you feel more comfortable with a guy who is braggadocious or a guy that's going to go? I'm just going to learn all I can and try to get his best.
Ah,
I'm going to try to be as good as I can every day, and I'm going to work hard.
we're
They're going to get
we're
a.
focusing on Shador,
well,
but let me tell you something.
I really like the fact that
There's
you bought the green mic in because that means you really respect the real G. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
come on, man.
I'm gonna
but you want
I'm,
to know something
hold on,
crazy
wait, let
about
me say
that
this.
though?
Let me say this, Pittsburgh T, but I'm gonna say that a guy that leads by example and have some humbleness and some braggadocio that is saying, you know, would support the team, support his players. I'm gonna be more connected to like the player guy as opposed to the
Mhm.
self guy. That's just me.
Let me just say this: we're all talking about Shador. But there's a guy on his team that's 10 times better than anybody in the draft right now. And he plays wide receiver for Colorado and cornerback.
Yeah.
And he was the best corner in
Well, okay,
football.
you talking about Trav
And he
Hunter?
was one of the best, yeah,
Yeah.
and he was one of the best receivers in college.
What position do you play him at?
He wants to play both. And I think whatever team gets him, they should give him a
No,
They
chance.
asked him.
you the head coach. What position do you play him at?
Both.
What about you,
Seriously.
Jess?
If I
What
if
about
I,
you,
if I
G?
need that if I
G.
need that
Uh,
player, I need him
if
for both sides.
if he goes to New England, I think he can play both. But Mike Vrabel ain't gonna let him do that. They ain't gonna let him do that.
What I'm saying? My question
Now,
is, you're
if I
yeah,
was Travis Hunter, who gets paid more, the cornerback or the wide receiver?
The
wide
wide
receiver.
receiver.
I would
So
play wide receiver.
so here's the thing.
And that's why I think he primarily wants to be
But
there.
that wasn't my question. My question is, you're the head coach. Where do you play him?
I play him like I play him. Who I'm trying to think of the last player to do that.
He's actually the best corner in the draft, though. So I mean, there's an argument there. Where a receiver is kind of a dime a dozen position,
No,
a
no.
cornerback is yes, it is.
No.
you think about how many Hall of Famers came in the 6th round, and
Nah.
with receiving.
Dude. The
The
answer is obvious. Play him at
but we're
corner.
talking about picking at number 3.
Corner
Corner.
is impossible.
No,
Play
no,
him
I'm
at
Corner is
talking
an
corner.
about
impossible
no.
position to fill.
I'm talking about if you pick a wide receiver at number 3, he better be ready to play.
Let me say this:
Dude.
you pick a cornerback at number 1, 2, or 3, he better be able to play. The game elevated to a
Okay.
strictly.
Do you
We
Now,
think
talked last
one
time
of
do you
about
y'all
he
think
need
Travis Hunter
devalued
to
is
the
better than
running
answer
Sauce
my
back.
Gardner?
question. My
Yeah,
question
we
Travis
talked
was,
Hunter
about
better
how
than
the
Sauce
running
Gardner?
where
back position has
as
been
a
devalued,
coach,
right?
where as a coach do you play him? Where do you play him? You
Corner.
I
draft
would
him.
play him at corner, and then I
Corner
would
is a
let him
harder
play on
position
third
to
down.
fill.
You would do what?
Corner is a harder
I
position to
play him at
fill.
corner and let him play third down wide receiver.
Okay, what you about
Mhm.
you, Scott or T?
I said the same thing. I mean, give him the plays to kind of throw off the
Right,
defense where he can utilize those
right.
skills as a receiver, but it's harder to fill a position at corner than it is a receiver.
Yeah.
So wait,
I
Period.
wait. So wait a
Look at
minute.
Dion. When
Hold
Dion
on. Let
was
me
at
add this in.
Atlanta, they let him play both.
Let
Hmm.
me add this in. You're not concerned about wear and tear? You
Nah, because
invest a
he won't
third
play enough.
round pick.
Well, let's say this:
Hold on. Let me
Dion,
ask the question first.
Dion played it
Let me
both
ask the
sides.
question first. Are
Brown
you
for
not
New England,
concerned about wear and tear on the body? You're
no,
gonna
No,
have him play two positions.
I give him 10 plays a
no.
game on offense.
Huh?
Look who successfully did two
I give him 10
positions.
plays a game.
Remember Brown for the
So
Patriots?
so
He
so
was corner
so
plus
G.
receiver. Deion Sanders played corner and receiver for two different teams, the
Yeah.
49ers and the Cowboys. I mean, it's possible to do it. I mean, I just
Yeah,
think
but
he's
see, the
primarily a
only thing
corner.
about Dion, when Dion played wide receiver, he wasn't elite. You know what I'm saying? Travis Hunter is an elite wide receiver.
Receiver
We
and
talking
corner.
about routes. We talking about pass
They said he runs
blocking.
one of the best routes in all of college football.
Yeah,
So how do you not utilize
you
that?
can't. You can't. He can't get hurt.
Yeah. You investing a third round pick or second round or first round pick into a guy that you're gonna expose them to injury that many times? No. You either have to pick one or the other. And I think he's a better cornerback than he is a receiver.
Yeah,
That,
I
that's
think
for
he
and
is
sure.
too.
I'm gonna give him the opportunity to get the ball as a corner. More so, I'm gonna give him the ball and take the wear and tear and the hits
Yeah.
as a receiver. That's my
Hey,
opinion.
but I just thought of somebody. Remember this conversation because this is my hope for Shedeur Sanders. I don't see him changing, being cocky and being braggadocious. I hope he becomes Cam Newton because when Cam came in the league, braggy, but what he do? First game threw for 400 yards. I when Shador played against Caleb Williams, what did he do? He threw for 6 touchdowns. So I think he's that man. I think that he's that
But what
him.
I'm saying though, Scott,
But
the
and the
examples you
Panthers
put in
suck.
place, but the examples you put in place is exactly what I said. There's one or two ways that goes. You're incredibly cocky and back it up, or you're incredibly cocky and you laughed out of the league.
Oh yeah, and the
That's
odds
it.
are against him because the Giants suck. But they got Malik Neighbors and they
Right.
got
You
a
still think the
couple
Giants? I'm
pieces
telling
here and
you, the
there.
Browns. We're gonna see after draft. We
Mm-mm.
got what, 3 more weeks? I think you're gonna be a Brown. I think it's better suiting them.
I
Thanks.
I like the
They're
Browns
making some
pick. I
offseason
like that, Travis.
movements.
But I just don't think Dion's gonna let that go, man. Dion ain't gonna let that happen.
Dion has no say. Dion has
Dion
absolutely
got
no
no
say.
say.
Because here's
Dion
the
already
thing.
said there's
So
certain teams
Dion's
I
gonna
will
be
not
in
let my
Cleveland.
son play for.
So Dion's gonna be in Cleveland with the AK saying, "Listen, if you draft my son, I'm gonna kill all y'all."
No,
They're gonna get the
Dude,
player that they need, the best
bro.
available player. And if
Let
he
me
they're not
falls
gonna
to the
waste a
third
pick on
pick,
a
they're
guy
gonna
that's
get
not
him.
gonna play for them.
Well,
hey,
then
hey,
you know what though? Then you know what'll end up happening? He'll get drafted as a Brown, and somebody's gonna have to pay 4 times what they would have paid for him because the Browns ain't gonna let him go like that. So he
Remember
either
Eli
plays
Manning,
or yeah, he either plays or they're gonna have to trade him off, and it's
mm,
gonna be a ridiculously stupid
John
trade for
Elway?
any team that takes him.
dude, it's possible.
Yeah, Elway. No, Elway
It,
had an option.
if
You're
the
using bad
Saints,
examples.
if the
Elway
Saints,
went to play baseball for the Yankees,
But
and
see,
then he sat
if
but
out a whole year.
I
If
know,
the
but you're forgetting
Spurs
Travis.
Shedeur don't
come
have that
marching
No,
option.
in,
no. Yes, he does. Yes, he
He
does.
can
You
play
know why?
baseball. He
You know
plays
why?
baseball.
No, he got
who's
it better than
moderating this
them.
debate? Who's
I know,
moderating
but
this
hold up just
debate?
a second. But just hold. The difference is Shedeur don't need the money.
You know the
He don't need the
difference is
money.
you sit out a year and you're
He
not
don't
taking
need the
those
money.
snaps, teams don't need you either, and your value goes down. So if you don't get picked up now, look what happened with Bo Jackson. Bo decided to play with the Royals, and then the Raiders had to renegotiate because the team he was drafted to, which was the Arizona Cardinals, it didn't pan out, and he rather played baseball than played with the Cardinals. And then you know what ended up happening? Instead of getting that first round pick money, Bo had to settle for whatever the Raiders gave him. And
I
that's the
know,
Shedeur,
same
but
thing Shedeur would have
wait,
to
wait,
do.
let me
I
chime
know,
in.
And
Bo.
he's
Bo
all
played with the
about
Let me
Royals.
that
say this.
money
Let me
because
say
he's
this.
too
Let me say this.
cocky.
Let me chime in now. Shedeur doesn't need the money. He does need the fame. He does need the
Yep.
notoriety. He's addicted to it. It's like crack, right? He
And
needs
then
it,
take a year
okay?
off with
Right?
no notice.
I
and
don't
you know
know
what?
any college
And
player that got a deal
and
with
he
Rolex.
doesn't have the skill set to back it up. And so I think it's arguable. And like
He got two
If the
thousand yards
Saints
more
don't
than
draft
Jordan
him,
Love.
if the Browns don't draft him, he might be a second round pick.
No, they said that
Browns
won't
number
happen
three.
either
The
because they
Browns are
said
number
teams.
three.
They said
They're
teams will
passing on
move
him.
into.
The
They said
Browns are
he won't
number
be a second
three.
round pick because teams will move back into the first round just to get him.
But the Browns picked number three. The Giants already made their move to the future. Why pay someone $35 million
Now,
and then
they're
draft
paying
a
him 10,
quarterback?
10
No,
million.
we're not talking about Russell. We're talking about the other one they got.
Oh,
Who did they pick up? The
nope,
Giants.
nobody.
No. So they only got Russell Wilson.
That's all they got. Russell and Danny DeVito.
The dude from Lethal
I thought
Weapon?
they got Seattle's quarterback.
No, Russ got him. The Raiders got him.
Mm. I thought the Giants picked up two quarterbacks.
Giants picked up Winston and Wilson,
That's
didn't
what
they?
I said.
Yeah.
And what's Winston getting?
No,
What's
no, they
Winston getting a
peanuts.
year?
He got less than Russ.
Dude,
I don't see them picking up a number one pick.
Cleveland would be. I don't know. I don't think that. So Giants are going to pass on them. They're not going to bring in three quarterbacks. Cleveland is
No,
the only team
yeah,
that might
absolutely
do
not.
it.
Jameis
Two
got
veterans and a rookie.
Yeah.
Jameis got $4 million a year.
The Browns are number three, Scott. You think they're gonna let? Do you think when they need a quarterback right now, they got one that's hurt all the time? They traded their starting quarterback of last year, so they have zero quarterback, and they're the third pick. So who they pick up, Scott? They're
They
gonna play the whole season without a
this is
quarterback.
this is all I've heard. At the number 3 pick, do you get a quarterback that you love, or do you get somebody like Travis Hunter that you know is a generational
They
talent?
just they just paid Miles Garrett
Generational talent.
a ridiculous amount of money. Their cap is not there to get a Kirk Cousins. They would have to get a quarterback through the draft to
They're not
afford to
paying.
pay somebody. Garrett
Dude,
just
Kirk,
signed a
Kirk
big
Cousins.
contract.
bro,
Kirk
He's the
Cousins already
highest
made
paid
all his
defensive
money. He don't
player in
have to get paid.
football. Oh, so
bro,
Garrett's not going to get
bro.
paid.
Shedeur is not going to go in the top 10. He's
He's
not going to
not.
go in the top 20.
I think you. I
He,
think. I
he
think he's number three.
I think he's the third
Wait,
quarterback picked, and I don't know if he's going to be picked ahead of Jackson Dart. I don't know.
I'm just going to say this: Who does the
I don't
Cleveland
know.
Browns pick? Who's the Cleveland Browns pick with the cap space they have? They got to get a. They got to get a quarterback from the draft. They do. That's their only option. They can't afford to pay Kirk Cousins or someone like that. They just signed a huge deal with Miles Garrett, and they brought another defensive end in.
Yeah. The
I
only
think the
thing I
guy from
say
Cincinnati.
is
There's
if
no money.
if they
They
if
have to
they
go through the draft.
if they're looking at marketing a
The best
player.
available player in the
No, no,
draft
no. If they're
at
looking at,
quarterback.
hey, look, we're going to bring him in and we're going to make him the face of the franchise and market it and try to build money, then it makes sense to bring a big name in because Shedeur Sanders is a big name, right? I just don't think he is prime time ready talent. And
Well, who do they get? Who
they
did they get to
made
fill the quarterback position?
no, they don't. My point is that they don't
So the
bring a
Browns
first
don't
man.
have a starting quarterback this year.
They didn't have one last year. So I think
No. So they
that
don't have anybody playing quarterback for the Browns this year. They
They
just
got what's
traded
it
their
called?
player. They
Hold on, let
traded
me
what's
check
his
it.
name?
I
They
think
just traded what's
I
his
don't
name who
know.
played from last
It's
year.
possible that they'll draft him, but I don't think it's
Who's
a
going to be
bad
their
move.
starter? Who's their
Right now,
quarterback roster
right
right
now,
now?
Cleveland got Kenny Pickett.
that's my that's my point. Kenny
So
Pickett is not starting no games.
if you're in a rebuilding
Kenny
year
Pickett won
and
one
you know
game for
That's
the
you
not
know
Philadelphia
for
Eagles.
1 year. 1 year. That means backup.
Philadelphia Eagles.
That means backup. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So you're gonna bet your whole franchise after signing Miles Garrett and getting what's his name from Cleveland or Cincinnati, the other defensive end from Cincinnati. You're gonna invest all that money to build up
They
your
don't have
team and
him.
let Kenny Pickett. Yeah, they did. They picked up what's his name, the defensive
Yeah,
end with Miles Garrett.
you develop your team this year in the hopes that you bring you build your offensive line, you get
So
all
the
the
Browns are gonna
he's
make moves to let Kenny
they're
Pickett
rebuilding.
be their. No, but you're gonna make moves. And listen, Miles Garrett's want to play for a losing team
Yep. If he
after
stayed
Yeah,
in
signing
he's
that
bought
Cleveland,
into
shit.
that. He's already been
After
playing for the
no,
losing teams in the last
good.
4 years.
What did Miles Garrett complain about last year, and why he wanted out of Cleveland?
he said that.
Because he
He
didn't think
said
that
it.
they
Then
were
he
going
took
to
the
build
money.
to the future, and they weren't serious
But he
about
took the
making the
money.
championship run.
When
That's
he
what
took
his
the
biggest
money,
complaint was.
I know,
Then
but when
why
he
did
took
he
the money, he
resign?
agreed to lose.
Why did he resign? Because
Yeah.
he said, if you look at his interviews, he says, I think we're going to get a great quarterback, and I'm excited about the player that we're talking to about possibly coming here to play. And that's the only reason why he re signed for that big contract.
And who was that
He had
player?
leaked it. He didn't say nobody's name,
No, I'm
but
saying, who do you
he's
think that
confident
player is?
enough. It ain't Kenny Pickett. Because I bet when he heard
No,
Kenny
no.
Pickett's
I'm
our
saying
starting
my question
quarterback,
is
he
to
probably
you.
like,
My question is to
please.
you is who do you think that player is?
It's through the draft. He's confident
So
because there's no money there.
he based his decision off of a possibility that they might get some. Come on, dude. Come on, man.
I think okay, so listen, we'll revisit this after the draft. I say he goes to Cleveland, whether Cleveland has to trade or trade him off or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we'll discuss this because I'm telling you right now, the Cleveland Browns are going to pick the best available person at the quarterback position in the draft because Kenny Pickett is not going to get them nowhere. And everybody in the world knows that.
Dude.
He
Trav.
got baby hands. He got baby hands.
Pittsburgh, Trav. And I'm gonna say this: the Browns are not expecting to go nowhere next year. They're not expecting to go
I'm
anywhere.
telling you. I'm
They
telling
don't
you.
want to go anywhere. They know that
Okay.
they have a bad contract situation. They
Yep.
signed Miles Garrett when they shouldn't have. They should have let him go. They don't have a cap
Yep.
space. They're looking at not 2025. They're looking at 2026. And they bring a young quarterback in. Maybe that'll help them, but I don't think so. I don't think you
There's
want to
Yep.
no
build a
depth.
franchise
There's no
around him.
depth in Cleveland. So who's backing up Kenny Pickett?
I think they're
I
gonna
don't
go
know.
back to
Some
Joe
rookie.
Flacco, and they're gonna go with
Flacco, I don't know.
Jimmy
Flacco's
Garoppolo.
gone.
Huh?
Flacco's gone.
The organization has been
So
in
who are they gonna
disarray.
get? Who's
What
their
do you mean
backup
Flacco?
quarterback?
Organization's
Who's
Trav,
it?
that
Look
Trav,
at their depth chart.
that
Look,
organization has been in disarray. They've
I
signed
hear you.
bad contracts. They let Jameis
They in my
Winston go.
division,
And you
bro.
know what? They're responsible for a huge portion of his guaranteed contract. They don't have the cap space. They have to be in a rebuild. And I don't think the Shedeur Sanders is the answer. I don't really think so. Maybe he
We'll
is,
see.
but we'll
We'll see
see.
at the end.
But I
We'll
would
see at the
say
end of the draft.
if they draft him, I said that's another mistake. I would do. I would.
I'm just saying this. I'm just saying this. So your depth chart is Kenny Pickett. If he gets injured, who's backing him up?
Doesn't matter. We're rebuilding.
So you're gonna get your wide receiver. Oh, I know what. You're paying Miles Garrett so much money. He the backup quarterback.
I'm saying that if I'm in a rebuilding situation, that
You don't draft the
If Kenny
quarterback.
Pickett gets hurt, right, I'm gonna go with my second
Who's your
guy.
backup? Who's
Yep.
that? There's nobody on the roster. There's nobody on the depth chart to back him
Well,
up.
whoever I
So you
bring
got to
in
get
is
somebody
gonna
from
be
the
the guy.
draft, right?
It could be
Yeah,
Mason
from the draft,
Rudolph. It
right?
could be Malik Willis. I
No,
trade for
Mason
him. It
Rudolph
could
just
be
signed with
anybody.
Pittsburgh.
I could.
Mason Rudolph signed up for Pittsburgh
Maybe
as a
I give
backup.
a 6th round pickup for Malik Willis. So I
There,
bring a
there's
guy
there's
in as a stopgap.
there's there's quarterbacks out there.
I'm just
the
saying,
the
it doesn't
Jacoby
make
Brissett
sense
type
that if
Joe
Kenny
Flacco
Pickett gets injured,
quarterback.
who's
Don't say
backing
Jordan
him
ever
up?
again, yo. Don't say Jordan ever again. Don't let me hear that come out your mouth ever again.
All I'm saying is, who's
Uh,
backing up Kenny
um,
Pickett?
Case
If he
Keenum,
gets injured,
Nick
who?
Mullins, Zach Wilson. Um, who else? There's Trey Lance. There's some bums out there.
And then I listen to Cleveland. I look at Cleveland. They're in our division. Do you know that they had 6 Heisman winners because they always go quarterback, whether that's a need for their team or not?
So
They
so
all
your
busted out.
opinion
They
is
all busted out.
it's a third round pick?
I'm just looking at.
Shedeur Sanders?
I'm
All
just looking
right.
at.
So
Wait.
so
Management has not
Shedeur,
changed in
like
Cleveland.
you locking it in? Shedeur Sanders is a third round pick.
Yes,
all right. So here's
yes,
my bet.
yes. Here's
I
the
bet
thing.
Chris
You
that
can't
Shador
blame.
will make it into the top 10, and I'm betting you that Shador will go to the Giants and not to the Browns around the
When
golf.
they sign 2 veteran
I'm
quarterbacks.
betting.
That
I'm
makes a lot
betting.
of sense.
Okay, so you're saying
That
he
makes a
goes
lot. Here's my
to
thing. Here's my thing.
wait.
Look at
We're
Cleveland's
Trav.
history.
We're
Look at
making a
Cleveland's
bet.
history. I'm betting you,
Wait.
but
So
I'm
what's
making a
your
point
bet?
too.
Top 10, Scott?
Shador will go in the top 10. He's either going to go to the Giants or to the Saints. And Travis, our bet is I bet that Shador goes to the Giants or Saints before he goes to the Browns. Because I don't believe Deion will let it happen.
I say this. I look at the patterns for the Browns. Let's look at it. They've got 6 Heisman Trophy quarterbacks in their past. They always draft quarterback. They always do. They don't care about the rest of the team. If you look at their history, until management changes with the Cleveland Browns, history will tell you that they're going for a quarterback. Who would be in the top spot by number 3 at the quarterback
They got a
position
quarterback. Deshaun Watson is going to make $45 million this year.
for the Browns? He's going
Deshaun
to the
Watson's going to
Browns?
make $45 million, and he can't walk.
And my point
Wait.
is,
G,
who's their
G.
depth chart?
Hey,
Yeah,
wait. I want to make it clear. Top 10, no later than the Saints. What are you betting, though?
We
Round the
just had
around
an
the
golf?
golf.
argument.
Round the
We
golf?
just
Round the golf?
Yep.
Round the
Yeah, we'll
golf.
do
Round
that.
the
You
golf.
pick the
So
course,
so so
$50
so
course.
Chris, did we
I'm saying, hold on. My bet is because Travis, you had the phone for a minute. You didn't make no bet. I say he falls out of the top 10.
Ooh.
I don't think you will. Listen to me though. We just had this argument, right?
And
Baker
I'm betting
Mayfield,
around the golf. He falls out of the top 10.
Scott. Which
Yeah.
2 quarterbacks were we talking about that were bust or talked all that trash and didn't pan out? What was the 2
Uh,
ones that you just mentioned?
what are you talking about?
I can't wait till y'all play my
Quarterbacks.
right.
What we were
Yeah.
talking about
Well,
earlier. You
Trav,
said Baker Mayfield
Trav,
and who?
Trav, what's your bet?
No, hold on.
Third
I want him
round?
to answer my question real
Because
quick
I
because
want
my
to play
phone
golf.
is getting off.
I want
We'll
to
play
play.
golf, round of golf.
I'm saying, like you
That he's
betting
gonna
around
go
the
to the
golf,
Browns.
he goes to Cleveland at
Are
3.
you putting all your
Yes,
chips that Cleveland
yeah,
takes him at number 3?
yes. But no, Scott,
Oh,
answer my
You
thank
heard
question
it.
you.
too.
It's all
Ooh,
recorded
man,
now.
thank
It's
you.
I
recorded.
am, yeah. Okay, Scott, answer my question. It was
Yep.
Baker Mayfield, and who else did you say?
I'm gonna sharpen my clubs up right
Are
now.
Baker Mayfield? I don't understand.
You remember we were talking about the 2 quarterbacks that when we were talking about Shador and all this other stuff. You said, "Well, remember when they had Baker Mayfield and so, and he's no longer in NFL no more."
Oh, Johnny Manziel.
And guess who drafted both those guys?
Yeah, no,
First
but
round.
I that's what I said.
That's what
Is he
they
more
do.
like
They
Baker?
pick up those guys and they beat them to death, and then they're
Yeah,
no longer
yeah,
valuable.
yeah.
The Browns always pick quarterback.
I
Watch what
know,
happens.
but
Hey,
they didn't have Deshaun
Who's
Watson making
available?
$45 million when they drafted those guys.
can I pick the course?
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
picked the course.
So if it's 120, if
I
it's
want
Augusta,
Ozark
that's good.
National.
If it's
I want
No, we're
Ozark
talking about Missouri
National, or
course.
I want Mule
Missouri
National.
course.
hey man,
Missouri.
hey, he's falling out, man. He's not a top 10 pick,
Let me check the rates for
But
Ozark National.
The Cleveland Browns don't care
dude.
about that stuff. Bro, they don't care about that stuff. They
That-
don't. They just pick quarterback.
Wow, it's
Because
hey.
they know they need the need. I mean,
I'm
think
a
about it.
cash in. When you gonna be here? So April 23rd is the draft, right? So I'm looking at
So
Scott. When you
so
gonna be
so
here
you
to
guys
pay?
both owe me
Oh,
around
Oh, wait a
if
minute.
hold up.
if
Oh,
Shedeur gets drafted, right?
it's
To
possible
the
that I
grounds.
get 2 rounds. So if
That's what
both
I'm
of
saying.
y'all wrong, I get
So
2 rounds.
if I'm right, I get around from both of you guys.
So I get a round from both of y'all. Good. So all he has to do is fall out the top 10. I get 2 rounds.
And all he has to do is get drafted by the Browns. And
And
look
you get
who
two
he's
rounds.
projected to go to. Look who he's projected to go to.
He's not projected to go to the Browns.
Where's he predicted to go?
I think the Saints maybe might pick him.
And you see how far he'd
Woo!
have to drop to get to the Saints?
9 to 9. Is it 9?
I already
G?
know the Browns are picking a quarterback.
Hold up.
I know they are. And I know
Oh
with their
my
cap
God.
issues,
How did we
they're
afford
picking a
to play
quarterback.
that?
I want to play in St. Louis. It's $80 a game.
How did we?
Hey, it's gonna be sweet,
Hey,
man.
hey! I
I'll
just
bring
looked
my
up
own
the rates.
balls.
I just looked up the rates for Ozark National, and I played there with House. It was at James
Well,
Jackson at his bachelor party.
yeah,
It
60,
costs
$70.
$215 now,
No, you can get it. I ain't gonna
and
abuse you like that.
we
Yeah.
played I take that back. The mountaintop, it's $80, but we played 3 minute scramble.
Yeah.
I just
So
think, listen, I just know that
just
Cleveland always
save
goes
up.
quarterback.
As long as you
They
got
have none to speak of.
$160, you good. I think if you got about $200 in the hopper, you're good. Yeah. You got me 2 games. I'm gonna sharpen my
I'm
clubs
telling
up
you,
like the
I'm telling you right now, Cleveland's picking a quarterback. I guarantee it.
it's just not gonna
Their
be Shedeur
defense is
Sanders.
locked down. They just vested
Hold
in
up, hold up,
that
hold up,
Giants, the
hold
number
up. No,
three,
no, no,
the
no, no.
receiver
You
from the
didn't say
Giants.
Cleveland's taking the quarterback.
Hmm.
You said
Absolutely.
Cleveland's taking Shedeur Sanders
Right.
because
Yeah.
if Cleveland
Who's the
takes
Right.
best one
Jackson
going to be?
Dart,
They
Hey,
already listen.
so
The
hey, I've been
quarterback
thinking
from
a
Miami.
lot.
Hear me out.
I've been
Hear me
thinking a
out.
lot about flying out there to California. And hey,
Mhm.
Scott,
Let me tell you
that's
though.
gonna up your price.
No,
Woo!
let
We
me
go
just
to
tell
one of
you.
them Trump courses
The
with
only
them
two
tariffs.
quarterbacks that
We're gonna
no,
be
the
paying a
only two
lot of money,
quarterbacks that they're
bro.
talking about, the only two quarterbacks that they're talking about in the NFL draft are the one from Miami, the guy from Miami, and then Shedeur. Right?
No, they
That's
talking about
it.
Jackson Dart now because Shador's showing his watch and
Mm,
Okay. Well,
popping
even
his
Jackson Dart,
shirt and
even Jackson Dart, they already said the number one overall pick.
right.
Already looking at the guy from Miami.
You know what? I'm
The
gonna give
we
you a
know
Cleveland is
that.
not
discount
gonna.
on the.
Cleveland. I'm
Let's
just
say
gonna tell
this.
y'all.
I'm gonna give you a discount. So maybe you can give me one game at a good course and then shine my shoes. Could bring you a brush, scuff them up really good,
Oh,
and that get me on camera and
you
I'll
didn't
put
hear
it
the
on
part of the
just
bet.
Hey,
beat
I
the shit.
ditto
said
to the
50 to
saying.
75
Ditto to
dollar
the
course,
saying.
man. Come on.
I'm just telling you.
Not no
I'm just
Prairie
saying.
Ridge. I ain't playing the
I'm
Prairie
just
Ridge.
saying.
You better bring your wallet.
I'm doing the
You
math,
gonna make me
guys.
spit my stuff.
I ain't,
I'm
I
doing
ain't
the
playing no
math.
Prairie Ridge. Just know you know that's the truth.
All
Listen,
right,
I'm doing the
And what's
math.
the other one
Listen,
called?
listen. Hear me out. Hear me out. And then
Elm Hill.
tell me what makes sense to you guys. You got the guy number 3 from the Giants who tore up the league, right?
Yeah,
He's a bad boy. The receiver from the Giants.
Yeah, the neighbors, Malik neighbors,
Y'all just got rid of what's his name for a running
Malik
back,
Neighbors.
right? No,
Malik
no,
neighbors
no.
is the Giants.
Yeah.
Daniel
Well,
Jones.
yeah, but I'm talking about who was the running back they just picked up after trading our guy because he had too many injuries. Uh so you guys invested in a running back, a receiver. You have no quarterback to speak of. Kenny Pickett. That's it. You just signed Miles Garrett. You beefed up your defense. What are you lacking on that team? Quarterback play. That's
Yeah,
the only thing that they really need. So for them not to pick one, and they picked one for the last 10 years,
I think they lame duck.
I'm just
I think they're
saying,
lame
dude.
duck.
I agree with you,
I
but
agree
I'm
with
telling
Chris
you what their
that
patterns. I tell you their
this
patterns.
season they just gonna commit to just having a team. I don't think they're really trying to win.
See
Okay.
that? G.
We'll see what
See my
happens.
G.
And that G stands for Garland.
Yeah.
Or Fred G Sanford.
It means I'm in agreement with him.
We'll see what
That G
happens.
stands for, hey,
I'm
That
just
I
telling
had
you
two
this.
thousand yards.
I don't
I
know
had
too
two
many
thousand yards
teams.
more than Jordan Love, and I had 20 more
I
Don't
don't
make me
know
touchdowns.
too
come up
many
there.
teams.
I know your address. Don't make me drive up there. I drive
I
right
don't
my
know
ass
too
up
many
there, be at your
teams
door.
who
Yeah,
just
for
wants to
real.
throw
You
away their whole season. I just don't know it. I don't know of any. Just like, you know what? We're going to trash these next 2 years. I just
all
don't.
right, guys,
I
man.
can't think of it.
Let's wrap this up, and then we can call each other back with when we finalize everything. You have been listening to Brother to Brother Sports. My name is JustG, CT,
What's
and
up? What's up?
Pittsburgh
I'm ready to
Trav,
cash in on this bet. I'm gonna play
All right,
some golf,
man.
baby.
Yeah. Vice
and
versa.
we out.
Right on.
Well, I'm going to eat
Peace.
something, fellas. I love y'all,
Love
man.
you.
And I'll talk to y'all soon.
Right
And
on.
my phone about to die. But trust me, Cleveland's going quarterback.